They left everything behind: phones, wallets, passports, and drove into the Australian countryside. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. Days later, they began reappearing, scattered, terrified, and unable to explain what had happened. This wasn't a kidnapping, it wasn't a crime. It was something far stranger. In the peaceful town of Sauvon, Victoria, the Tromp family seemed like any other hard-working Australian family. Mark and Jacoba Tromp ran a successful red currant farm with their 3 adult children, Rihanna, Mitchell, and Ella. They were well respected, no financial problems, no criminal record, no history of mental illness, just a close family rooted in the land. But sometimes, madness doesn't arrive with thunder. It starts with a whisper, and by the time anyone hears it, it's already too late. In the weeks before their disappearance, Mark began to change. He became anxious, convinced someone was watching them, trying to harm the family or steal their money. He told his children to be careful. He began checking locks, double-checking cars, looking over his shoulder, and soon, Jacoba started to believe him. When fear takes root inside a close-knit family, it spreads fast. The Tromps began seeing danger in everything: their phones, their computers, even their farm equipment. Mark believed they were being tracked through technology. And that's when he made the decision that would change everything. They had to disappear. Right now, on Monday, August 29, 2016, the Tromp family fled. No luggage, no plan. They piled into Ella's silver Peugeot SUV and drove north, leaving behind passports, credit cards, and every phone in the house. When police arrived later, they found the home unlocked, keys still in the cars, and stacks of documents laid out, as if someone had been preparing for an investigation. It looked like the family had run from something or someone they truly believed was closing in. They drove for hours, covering nearly 800 kilometers. Inside the car, paranoia turned into panic. When Mark discovered Mitchell had secretly brought his phone, he demanded it be thrown out the window, convinced it was being used to track them. Mitchell obeyed, but he knew something was deeply wrong. Still, he stayed because leaving his family behind felt even more dangerous. After driving all night, the family reached Bathurst, New South Wales, but the tension was unbearable. Mitchell decided he couldn't take it anymore. He left on foot with no phone and no money. The remaining 4 kept driving toward the Gentleman Caves. But soon, the sisters, Rihanna and Ella, also cracked under the strain. They abandoned their parents, stole a car, and headed for Goulburn. Within 24 hours, the Tromp family had splintered, 5 people, each running in different directions. And this is where the story stopped making sense. Mark and Jacoba were now alone, their delusion tightening its grip. Somewhere near the Gentleman Caves, they separated. No one knows why. On Wednesday night, a couple playing Pokémon Go reported being chased by a silver Peugeot. The driver, believed to be Mark Tromp, suddenly pulled over, got out, and sprinted into the darkness. The car was later found abandoned, keys still in the ignition. The Tromp family had vanished again. By this point, the entire nation was hooked. What could cause an entire family to lose touch with reality so completely? If you find cases like this as fascinating as I do, stories where reality blurs into the unbelievable, take a second to subscribe. There are plenty more mysteries just like this one coming your way. Now, back to the Tromps. As search teams combed the countryside, the story dominated headlines. Police were baffled. Back at the farm, nothing pointed to an external threat. No forced entry, no enemies, no decks. Meanwhile, the children began to reappear just as mysteriously as they had vanished. First was Rihanna. A driver named Keith Whitaker found her hiding in the back seat of his ute, catatonic and terrified. She was taken to Goulburn Hospital. Then Jacoba, found 2 days later, wandering near Yas in an agitated state. She too was hospitalized. Mark was the last to be found. Disoriented, walking near the Wangaratta airport, when police questioned him, he gave no explanation, only a silent middle finger to reporters. All 5 Tromps were alive, but no one, not even they, could explain why they ran. In the following days, Australia exhaled a collective sigh of relief, quickly replaced by confusion. There were no charges, no confessions, and no clear answers. Mark released a brief apology, calling it an ordeal and asking for privacy. He said the family was trying to heal. To this day, they've never spoken publicly about what truly happened. Experts eventually proposed a chilling explanation: folie familiale, a shared psychotic disorder. When one dominant person develops a delusion, it can infect others close to them. In isolation, fear spreads like a virus. Mark was likely the primary, and his growing paranoia became the family's reality. One by one, the others fell under its spell, until they believed they had to run for their lives. And as each member separated, the spell began to break. Mitchell, who left first, recovered fastest. Ella and Rihanna, once apart from their parents, began to see clearly again. But Mark remained lost in the delusion the longest. The Tromp family's story isn't about crime or conspiracy. It's about the fragile border between reason and fear, and how quickly it can collapse. 5 people, 1 shared belief, and a week that turned their world upside down. Maybe it was stress. Maybe it was mental illness. Or maybe it's proof that sometimes the human mind can be its own worst enemy. So, what do you think really happened on that lonely stretch of highway? Was it a collective breakdown, or is there still a piece of the puzzle we were missing? If this story left you questioning reality as much as it did me, hit like, subscribe, and share your theory in the comments. The world's strangest mysteries are far from over, and we're just getting started.